be some serious...
Well, I'm gonna reboot the unrebootable movie Back to the Future. I think I could do it better than the studios. Check it out. Well, I thought it was fitting that the first episode of If It Was Rebooted would be about my favorite movie, Back to the Future. Now, Back to the Future came out in 1985, and it was a smash hit for Robert Zemeckis and Steven Spielberg. Now, back in 1985, I was 11 years old, and my father took me and my sister to see a movie at the theater. But it just so happened that movie was sold out, and we were forced to see this unknown movie to us, Back to the Future. We didn't know anything about the movie, but we begrudgingly went because that was the only thing playing at the time. But after that movie, I was obsessed. I had to see that movie every chance I got. And I begged and pleaded with anyone who would take me to see that movie in the theater. And I ended up seeing it 24 times when I was a kid. Now back then, that was before it was easily available on VHS. You had to wait a while before it was released on VHS. Unlike today, where they seem to release new movies pretty quickly. But back then, the idea of time travel to a young kid was crazy. It was amazing. But unfortunately, the sequels Back to the Future 2 and 3, although I love them, I do see flaws in the premise. They are a little bit sillier than the original. But the trilogy as a whole is one I wouldn't change anything about. It's firmly stamped in my upbringing. But just say that there was to be a reboot of the Back to the Future trilogy, what would happen? Well, first of all, Robert Zemeckis swears he will never let that happen. There will never be a Back to the Future reboot.
You got no
stroke? And unless he becomes bankrupt and somehow changes his mind, or he dies and his kids decide that they want to reboot it, we will probably never see that movie in our lifetime. But this is the world of make-believe, and so what if the movie studios got their hands on the rights to make a Back to the Future reboot? What would they do? Well, one thing is for sure, without a doubt, there would be CGI like crazy. Everything would be CGI'd. They might even play around with the idea of Marty being played by a female actress. Marty can be both a boy's and a girl's names nowadays. There may be a weird idea like making Biff a musclehead. Maybe he'd be played by like The Rock or something, which would be really crazy. Also, why not ditch the DeLorean? Let's make it a muscle car. Let's make it a Cybertruck or an electric car. Those are just some of the crazy things I could actually see them trying to do in a Back to the Future reboot. I can't see them doing the incest angle. I can't see them doing anything funny with Marty or his mom. I can't see Biff trying to have his way in that one scene.
What we have here.
They'd have to somehow scrub that out so that would never happen. In the 80s, I guess it would be risky, but it wasn't considered that risky. But nowadays, they can't do anything suggestive like that. So, no matter what happens, no matter if they rebooted or I did, people would hate it. The first movie is classic. There is nothing wrong with that movie. It's perfection. And the second ones, even though they are a little silly, people have them in such high esteem. But say I got a hold of those movies. Just say for some off chance I was given the rights to make my own version of Back to the Future. What would I do? What would I do if I had those rights? Well, first of all, I would go light on the CGI, because that seems to ruin everything. Also, I wouldn't touch the original movies. If I was to do a Back to the Future, it would be a Back to the Future Part 4. My version would deal with Doc and Clara's kids, Jules and
These
Vern.
are our boys! Jules! And Vern!
Now, in my version, they would be grown up. And by this time, Doc and Clara have been dead for a while. And they're trying to unravel the mystery of Doc's invention, the time machine. Now, Doc hasn't told them too much about it, but accidentally they stumble upon the DeLorean that is stored away, and they figure out how to go back in time and reunite with their dad, maybe using the help of Marty to do so. So it would be a movie of discovery and good feelings about kids reuniting with their family. And they might even go back to the 1980s. Now, of course, Michael J. Fox probably could never play the role of Marty again. He's with his Parkinson's. And, Christopher Lloyd would have a hard time playing Doc. He is getting pretty old. So they would have to recast somebody to play Marty and Doc and Biff and Lorraine if they were in it. I've heard of Tom Holland being pitched as playing Marty. It's not the worst idea in the world. I've heard Jim Carrey being pitched as a Doc Brown. It's not the worst idea in the world. But no matter who you decide to cast in those roles, you can never do justice to the original cast. It's iconic. It just can't be redone no matter how hard you try. But I like to try my hand at redoing them. So if you liked what I do, if you hated what I do, give me a shout. Maybe there's another movie you want me to try to reboot in my image. And I'll see you on the next episode of If It Was Rebooted. Till next time, bye.